All right, does anybody have any questions on anything we've gone over thus far in the chapter? Because what I'd like you to do then is I'd like you to close this file, so just do a file, close. And when you're back here, all right, do a file, new. We're going to create a new file. All right? Now, if we called it index.html, it would overwrite the other one. Does that make sense? We don't want to do that. We're actually going to create the stuff that's in the rest of the chapter that starts on the bottom of page 47 and it runs through page 60. That's what we're going to do. We create a very simple website. It'll have no formatting, no pictures. It'll just look like a bunch of text. All right? And it's for a company that's called Trillium, Trillium. So I'm going to take this new file and I'm going to do a file, save as. I want to make sure I'm saving it in my Chapter 2 folder, and I'm going to put in double quotes Trillium, Trillium.html. So Trillium, Trillium.html. So please create a new file. You've got all that other stuff in your old file, your index.html. Create a new file. Make sure that you create it. And again, if you can't read that, save it as Trillium, Trillium.html. Make sure it's in double quotes, or you go down on the save as type, go down and change it from text to HTML, or do both. All right, so I've got my brand new empty file, and you can see up here it says Trillium.html. That's what I want. This is a file I was working on for a different class, so don't worry about that. Okay? All right. Now, on the bottom of page 47 in your book, and let's go back to this, and I don't have any idea where it's going to be here, but we'll find it. There's the special characters. Structural. There. So on the bottom of page 47 in the book, or on here, it's page 65, I guess, they talk about a div element. The word div is short for division. It allows you to take your page and break it up into a series of sections. For right now, that's plenty to know. Typically, we'll give our divs names. Okay? We'll get into that in the next chapter. It's not important now. But they do mention the word div here on the bottom of page 47, and it kind of dies. All right? Then, on page 48, and up on the screen here also, okay? These are the new HTML5, the major new HTML5 elements. Header, nav, main, and footer. I don't want to go into them in a lot of detail. We're going to build websites that are going to have these. You're going to see them. These are known as semantic tags, S-E-M-A-N-T-I-C, semantic, meaning that you can look at it and know, oh, that's a header. It used to be that rather than using header, you'd use one of those div tags and you'd give it a name of header. So you'd say, instead of saying header like this, with this header tag, so this is the way that you do it today. Let me just show it to you that way. All right, today you go header and you put your stuff in there and you do header. It used to be you'd say div ID equal header, oops, and then you'd come in and you'd say div. Now, you might look at that and go, you know, why did they change that? It's not that big a thing. Well, the problem is sometimes people call them header, sometimes they call them HDR. So, you know, there was no consistency. Now, this means that it's a header. That's what semantic means, and you can look at it and know what it means. At the top of your document, you typically have a header. At the bottom of your document, you typically have a footer. All right? What we're going to eventually create, too, and it won't be even that long, but I'm sure you've all seen this. So if I go out here, let's see, do they have one? No, this isn't a great example, but I'll go out to Amazon, for example. And you see this? right here, that stuff, that's a navigation area. That's a nav bar. It allows you to navigate through. So if I want to find today's deals, I click there. We're going to make our own navigation. We're going to do that. Those will go inside of nav tags. All right? And then when we start putting in information, it'll all go between a main tag. Okay? So this is all stuff that you're going to see. Now, they start showing you this on the next page because what she has decided is, hey, I'm going to show you HTML5 from the get-go. Okay? All right. Now, I guess I told you to close your last file, which was fine. But from your last file, we actually want to grab all of that stuff. So you don't have to do that, but you can just type it in if you want, or grab it from your old one. Okay, so this is the beginning of our Trillium file. Make sure you've got that in there. This will be more or less a template that you'll have at the beginning of every file that you create. That's an HTML file. So please put that stuff in. We're going to change the title because it's not our first web page anymore. We're going to call it Trillium Website. All right. There's nothing in it right now. Please look up on the screen here. If I run this right now, do you notice that it says Trillium Website right there? But there's nothing in it. We haven't put a darn thing in it yet. We're going to start filling it up. And that's hands-on practice 210 through about 215 or 216, which ends the chapter. All right, so we've got about 10 pages to go, but we're going to put in quite a bit of text.
Do we have to do the character side?
Do you have to? It's probably a good idea to do it. Really, I should have. In fact, when you look here, I didn't even put in the in the head tag. I didn't put that in. So yeah, it's a good idea to put it in. So
Why wouldn't you get that?
typically, when people don't, they either don't know that they should or they forget to. See, the thing is, it does default to this. So if you leave it out, it's going to default to it. But if your site is going to be used in different languages or in different countries, this says to make sure you use that character set. All right, so there'll be no problem. Thank you for seeing that. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put in a header section. This is all this stuff is going to go in our body. So even if you're still typing, don't worry about it. So header, not header, header. All right, and inside of here, we're going to put just an H1 tag that says Trillium Media Design. Okay, I want to make sure everybody's caught up, so I'll give you a second to do that. That's the first thing that we put in there that's actually going to show on the page. So that's what we've done so far. Not a whole heck of a lot. All right? But that's what we have thus far. Everybody caught up? All right, I'm going to move this down just a little bit. I'll try to keep as much of it on the screen as I can. Under our header, all right, we're going to come in here and we're going to put in a nav section. This is an unbelievably crude nav section. We're going to do it in a lot better way, but you haven't learned that stuff yet. So for right now, we're just going to put it in like this. And we really shouldn't be using a B tag. We really should be using, instead of a B, you already know this, all right, we should be using a strong tag. do it the way they do it in the book. Now, if that worked, if you look up on the screen here, it should now look like this. All right, if you did yours and it worked, I'll give you a second to put that in.
The semicolon, never mind.
This is another one of those character entities we did before. We did that copyright. The NBSP stands for non-breaking space. That's what it is. It's forcing there. If I wanted there to be 5 blank spaces in between home and services, I could put in 5 of these. It literally, it's like you hit the space bar, but it's forcing that space to go in there. All right, next, so we've got in our header and we've got in our nav. Next, we're told to put in an H2 tag that says new media and web design. And underneath that H2 tag, we want to put in a paragraph tag. And that paragraph says Trillium Media. I'm taking it right from page 49 in your book, so if you want to do it.
Supposed to put the main tag.
Was there a main in there? Okay, we'll come back and do that. Thanks for seeing. Trillium Medium Design. You have to learn to spell. Will bring your company. Now, I'm out of room here, so I'm going to put this. That's not where they broke in the book, but that's why I'm breaking it here. I want that to be together. Right, so that's what we put in here. And if you look up on the screen, this is what it should now look like. Okay, not real much yet, but it's okay. You see, it doesn't look like it does in the book. Well, notice if I squish the size down, it will look like what's in the book. We're going to learn about this too, making a site responsive so it looks good on any kind. So it looks just as good on a phone as it does on a tablet, as it does on a laptop, desktop, whatever. All right? Now, what we want to do after this is we want another H2 tag and another P tag. So, we could go and type them in again, or we could just copy what we have here. So I'm highlighting all of it. I'm putting my mouse here, holding down on the left mouse button, dragging, so it's all highlighted. Then I'm going to right mouse click and choose copy, and then go right below it and do a right mouse click and choose paste. All right, so now I just pasted it in there. Now they tell you to type in meeting your business needs, our expert designers. That's fine. We can just leave it the way it is too. I don't care. This is just a horse's butt site. It's fine the way it is. So I'm going to save and run it again. So now you see what it looks like. Everybody cool with what I've done so far? If you want yours to look the way it does in the book, then change it so it does. That's just fine. All right. Now, Please look up on the screen, everybody, regardless of where you are. Mr. Jesse here noticed something that I forgot and shouldn't have. But it's actually, and I'm not trying to BS you here, it's actually kind of a good thing because I want to show you something to make your life a little easier for you. What we should have done is right under the body tag, we should come in here and put in a main tag. Oops. And that main tag should start here, and it should end right before the end of our body. So it should end here. Okay? Now, the main tag doesn't do anything special. It'll still look exactly the same. But please look at this. Now, I wish I would have tabbed every one of these things over. You know what I mean? So I've got a little tab order going, and I could individually tab each one. That's a pain in the butt. So if you look, if I highlight everything that I screwed up with, so it's all gray now, correct? Just hit the tab key. It tabs over everything at one time. All right, that's just a shortcut that's built into most of these editors. All right, most of them. So now I've got my beginning and my ending main, and there's what it looks like. Okay, again, if that really bothers you, and I'm not saying it does or doesn't bother anyone, I can come back and instead of new media and web design, I can come in here and it says meeting your business needs. And then in here, it says our expert designers are creative and eager to work with you. So if you do it like that, now it should look the way it looks in the book. All right? One more thing we have to do. We had a header at the top, so we're going to put in a footer at the bottom. So after main, we're going to put in a footer. There's my beginning footer tag. There's my ending footer tag. And in between these two, we're going to write in small, copyright. Yeah. They want you to say, oh, that's supposed to be italicized, sorry. They want it to be 2016. We'll make ours 2017 because it is 2017. (2017), and they've got your name here. I'm going to put this on a new line because I'm just running out of room. Okay. Now, I'm going to save this and I'm going to run it. Why? Just to make sure. See what it looks like on the bottom now? It's small and it's italicized. See that? That's my site so far. There's not a lot to it, but you can see it. All right? Now, please look up on the screen here. Some people, I don't know what they call it, is it a type A personality, but some people, you all know somebody like this, maybe you are someone like this, are really anal. Everything's got to be lined up and etc. So if I wanted to, I could put the small tag on a thing all by itself and the I tag on a thing all by itself. It doesn't hurt anything to separate it like that. So some people like to do it like that. Some people don't. It really and truly doesn't matter. What I ask is start to develop your own style. I can work with whatever style you develop, but I'd like you to be consistent with that style. So if somebody looks at Colin's website, oh, I know Colin did this because of the way he set things up. That's fine. But you shouldn't go and do it. Now I want to do it this way. Now I want to do it. It just makes it too hard for you and for other people. So that's hands-on practice 210 that's on page 49. All right. Please look up on the screen if you would, please. And notice I moved all that stuff. If I run it again, it looks exactly the same as it did. All right. Now, if you look, this is out of the book again. The next practice, I'm not going to make you do. because what they have you do with the next one, and it's not even in this book, but in the book, if you have it, they make you create another one. That's this Casita Sedona Bed and Breakfast. That one on that page, it's a whole page all by itself on page 50. I'm not going to make you do that. If you want practice, then go ahead and do it. If you think I'm getting this but not really that well, then I'd suggest you go on your own time and do that. But that's up to you. All right? Okay, so we're going to go and look at the anchor element now, which starts on the bottom of page 51, and the thing is on page 52. Okay? And I'm going to show you very quickly how to create an anchor element. Now, if you look right here, okay, see this Trillium media design? We want that to be a hyperlink. We're going to pretend that we've got the site http://www.trillium.com. We're going to pretend that's our website. Everybody understand that? Now, we're going to make a hyperlink, and when you click there, if there is a Trillium website actually out there, it's going to go to that one. If there isn't any Trillium website out there, it's going to give you an error. Does that make sense to everyone? I don't care about that a lick. I care about you creating an anchor tag so I can show you how to do that. Does that make sense? That's what this is about, not this. I don't really care about this thing in here one way or the other. So we're going to put what's called an anchor tag, and I'll tell you what, to make it easier for you to see, I'll put this on its own line. So I'm going to put here A for anchor, href, which means where do I want it to go? That's the hypertext reference where I want it to go. And I'm going to put in here, this has to be in double quotes or single quotes, / www.trillium.com. Okay? Now, let me make sure before you start typing that I did it correct. So I did all that. I saved it. Let's do a run. There's the Trillium. You can see how it's highlighted. Can you see down here when I put my mouse over it? Can you see way down here it says it's going to trillium.com. Right there. All right. Now if I click, there is a Trillium, but that went to radassist.com. All right. So that must have been what Trillium used to be called. If you don't want that, you can have it go anywhere you want. We could have it, we could put here Google. .com. And now if we run this and we click it, it goes to Google. That's not what's important. What's important is that you see and hopefully understand, the syntax for doing this. So it's an A tag with an href, then you put in what you want underlined, then you end your A tag. So please put that in, all right? Please put that in. You can put it anywhere you want to put it. Put it in a paragraph someplace. If you want it to say web presence, right there, if you want that to be hyperlinked, I don't care. Don't hyperlink too much. Some people hyperlink a whole paragraph. That is downright stupid. It's too hard for people when you, and if you forget to put this in, please look up on the screen here. I'm purposely going to remove this. All right, see how I removed it? See what happens? Don't think that you weren't going to do that. I do it. Everybody does it. But now you know what to look for, because then you're starting to debug. You're starting to look and say, okay, what errors or bugs are in there? And you're going to find them, and you're going to fix them. All right, so please put in something along those lines. All right, I don't hear typing, and that's good. But a couple things. On the bottom of page 52 in the book, the author says, can images be hyperlinks? The answer is yes, they can. Okay, everybody hear that? Yes, they can. Not a problem. We talk about that in chapter 4. On the top of page 53, they talk about an absolute hyperlink. This, right here, if you look, that's an absolute hyperlink. Why? Because it starts with HTTP. All right, typically with an absolute hyperlink means you're going to another website. If you want to be able to jump to another page within your own website, so if I've got jeffscott.com and I've got a home page and I've got an About Me page, and I want to put a link in there so I can click and you go to the About Me page, then I use what's called a relative hyperlink, relative to where you currently are. All right? It's just like if I told you, if I said, hey, we're meeting tomorrow in St. Louis, okay, and let's say you live out in O'Fallon, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to say everybody has to start here. So if Colin lives in O'Fallon, it wouldn't make sense for him to drive out here so he can turn around and drive down there. It would be silly to do that. So he drives relative to where he currently is. It's the same kind of a way here. All right. They also talk about on the bottom of page 53 a sitemap. We're going to do that. Okay? We're going to do that. We're going to do a couple more things right now. All right? Because I want to show you a couple more things. Then, for lack of better words, I'm going to turn you loose for about an hour and 20 minutes. I'll take your question if you have one in just a second. But I want to show you this first. Remember this? Where we did this home, etc. Remember that? Okay? You've got that. We don't want that like this anymore. This is just stupid. We're going to fix this, for lack of better words. It's not going to be great, but we're going to fix it for now. So we'll keep using B tags. You can do this. I want everybody to do this, please. So go back into your nav section and do this. This will have to be Trillium because we've already got our index.html. Now let's make sure it worked. Okay, there they are. See them? All right. Now if I try to click home, it stays right where it is. If I click services and contact, we don't have those yet. So I'm going to get an error message because it's going to a page that does not yet exist. So please put that in. We're going to do some copying. You had a question, sir.
Yeah, my hyperlink wasn't working for the Google.
Okay, then I'll go back and take a look at it in just 1 second. Would you agree that what we've done so far today, we have 2 pages? We've got index.html, which was our practice page, and we've got trillium.html. Would everybody agree with that? I mean, I'm not trying to throw something over on you. Now, see up here, remember our title, we put Trillium website? See that title at the top? Let's change that and put the word home in there. Okay, so let's go back up to our title, and instead of having it say Trillium website, let's have it say home. Right there. And then you can go back down and finish this. Everybody there? Okay. If you're not there, you're probably just about there. This will be very simple. What I want you all to do is this. Please look up on the screen here. Make sure you've saved. If you haven't saved recently, again, the easiest way to save is to just click the disk icon here. You can see I have saved because it's, well, it's kind of hard for you to see that. But it's grayed. When it's grayed out, that means you haven't made any changes since the last time you saved. All right? But after you've saved, then I want you to do a file, save as, and make sure you're in the Chapter 2, and we want to call the first one, we're going to save it twice, services.html. So save this as services.html. All right? So do a save. Then you can go up to the top and change the word home to the word services and save. Then do one more file, save as, and now save this as contact.html. Save that and change this word from services to contact. We now have 3 pages that are identical to one another. All right? But if you look up on the screen here, notice this says contact. Let me close. I got way too many of these things open here. So I've got contact right there. If I go to here, I'm now at, well, I goofed up. That should have been services. And if I go here, I'm back to the home page. Make sense? All right, so let's see what I goofed up on there. It says services. And what did I call it? Services.html. Services. All right. So what did I save it as? I spelled services wrong. That's real good, Jeff. So services. It may not let me do this because I think it's already open. Oh, it did. Okay, good. All right. So if I come back here now and refresh, I'm at the home page. It says home. I'm at the services page. It says services. I'm at the contact page. It says contact. Does everybody understand what we've just done? If you tried doing it, you have any problems, then raise your hand. Now, please look in your books if you have your book with you. All right? We are on the equivalent right there of the bottom of page 53. I want you to do pages, the bottom of 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, and 58. I want you to do those. You've got an hour and 15 minutes. One last thing. Please look up on the screen. This is one last thing for you to do. I'm going to go back to my home page. All right, so I'm going back. This is my not that one. I want the page that's called Trillium. So I'm going to open up, I don't know where it is, but there it is. I'm going to open up Trillium. Now, does anybody know how I can highlight this entire document at one time? I can do a Control A, like that, or I can right mouse click and choose Select All. All right? Or I can click Edit and select all. Okay? But would you agree I selected the entire document? I've done that. Now I want to copy it. So I can do a right mouse click, copy, or I can do a Control C or whatever. Now, please look up on the screen here. I'm going to go out to the internet and I'm going to type in here HTML validator. And I'm going to let the system find it for me. And it says, oh, you want the W3C markups validation service? Yes, I do. So I'm going to open that. Now I'm going to click where it says direct input, and I'm going to paste my whole file in there that I just highlighted all of it. And I'm going to click check. I want it to be green. Green means good. It didn't find any problems. Does that make sense? That's explained on page 59 in the book. But I just did it for you. So what I want is by Friday, I want everybody in here to hand in both that index page and these pages. And I want them all to be validated. That'll be the first assignment you have that will be graded. Does that all make sense? Any questions on that? All right, I'm turning you loose now. The rest of the period is yours. I'm going to help you and see if we can get that link to work. Okay?
I figured out the link, but I have another question.
Okay. What was the problem with the link?
Instead of the equal sign, I used the
Plus sign or something? Oh, minus
one.
Yep, that'll do it.
Yeah.
so right now, we wanna change the title, change that title, so it just says home. Alright, now save it by clicking your disk icon. Now do a file save as. And in here, put in double quote, services.html. Double quote. Hit enter. Now change the title there to services. And save it again when you get done. Alright, do one more file save as. And this one you're gonna call, so when they're call that contact.html. Okay, change that one to contact. And save. Now you should be able to test it right away. By just doing your run. So click run, run it under Chrome. Now you should be able to iterate from page to page. So you're at home, you click there, it should say services in there. Doesn't, okay, contact, what does that say? And that does, well, we'll fix those, that's fine. You won't need these, that's fine, okay, you won't need those, so you can put those. All right, so go back to your file. All right, let's do this. Now, see how you got Trillium all? This one now has to say services.html, that one has to say contact. Then you can remove this line that says strong, and you'll be all set. Now, but you'll need to do that on all three. Okay? We should have checked that first, I guess. Yes, sir. What's that? Okay. Okay, well, what it's doing is, it's right now, it's because it's saved as trillium.txt instead of trillium.html. See that? One says .text, that's why. Because it's trying to run your thing as a web page, but it's a text file. So we'll have to fix that. All right, so do a file, save as. And in here, you're going to trillium, just, let's do it, put it in double quotes. So put double quote trillium.html, double quote. That'll fix that problem. You're just following the steps that are in the book.
So we're using the same three that we already created?
Yes, that's why I had you do that, because you've got all three files now. They just want you to add the content for the services page and add the content for the contact page.
You said trillium.html, right?
Trillium.html, and make sure the whole thing's in double quote on both sides. Okay, now you should be okay. Now when you try to run, it should run. Geez, now you're the only one. Thank you. Again, I'm still here, so if you do run into a problem, raise your hand. I'll be glad to work with you on it, but you should be able to follow the steps in the book now. All right?
How did I get rid of the home services and not have the second one?
The one that's underneath it, you just want to highlight that line. Right. What I'm saying is you want to go back to your file, and it's the line here that it looks like you already did in this one. So open up the open up the Trillium one as an example. So do a file open on there. And double click the Trillium and remove that line. It's strong. You'll have to do it if contact is the same way. You'll have to do it there too. just so you all see this too, all right? I've already got the first chapter that we did this morning. That's already out there on YouTube, all right? And I'll have Chapter 2, Parts 1 and 2 out there in just a minute. But so if you go out there, that was 37 minutes long. So again, today is Tuesday. So that's out there. So if you're behind or if something's not making sense, that's why I do these. But I wanted to show you, I gave you all a flash drive